J.J. Redick got really mad last night, and the Lakers got even. This is the producers yelling at me. Matthew Tkachuk returned from injury, found the back of the net twice. I mean, he is a hockey player. And in case you haven't heard, the NFL draft is tomorrow. Here's my top 4 picks right here. And yes, Bill Plaschke, I traded down to get him. Way down.
You still be in agreement with my draft, Frank.
Bill, you're my number 1 pick. Always and forever.
That's nice.
Thank you, Courtney.
All right, we're going to start in Los Angeles where the Lakers even their series with the Timberwolves at 1 game apiece. The bounce-back game the Lakers were looking for. A little bouncy at times, ugly at times. It required a J.J. Redick. What the bleep is going on in the third quarter? L.A., though, scored just 13 points, committed 6 turnovers in the fourth. But overall, they did get 31, 12, and 9 from Luka, 21, 11, and 7 from LeBron. Bill, you were a credentialed columnist there last night. In other words, you were there. How did you view the Lakers win?
So I guess I am your number 1 pick, huh, Frank?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Lakers had a mandate after the first game loss to get more physical. They answered with, let's get physical, physical. They pounded the Timberwolves. LeBron James ran over people. Luka Doncic ran over people. Gabe Vincent ran over people. Austin Reeves ran over people. Rui Hachimura was hit in the face, injured so bad he had to wear a mask. He tore the mask off and kept hitting people. They were all over him. The biggest key, though, was J.J. Redick. He got even. After game 1, Magic Johnson called him out on social media, said he wasn't having enough impact on the team. So what happens in the third quarter when the lead gets dwindled down to 11 points? J.J. has a profanity-laced, red-faced, nationally broadcast tirade against his team. Just cursed him and ripped him. He scored the next 9 points, go up 20, the game over. J.J. was a big winner. The Lakers were all big winners. They finally got tough. They got to win.
I like that. He referenced a song from the 80s, a player from the 80s. So, Harry Lyles, bring us into 2025. What did you view of the Lakers last night?
Yeah, I think, starting off with the Timberwolves coming out flat after a lot of talk in a big game 1, I thought was pretty weak on their end. But you do have to give credit to the Lakers, like Bill said. Luka obviously came out with that big first quarter that really ended up being the difference in the basketball game. LeBron looked really good on both ends of the floor. They were also sharing the basketball a lot better. They had 14 assists just in the first half. They had 15 in all of game 1. So the fact that they were moving the ball better, I thought, was really well, too. And they slowed down that Timberwolves bench. They had about half the points that they had in game 1 in game 2. So I thought that was a really good response. The thing that stuck out to me, though, with this was also, again, J.J. Redick. Obviously, we know he's always animated. The microphones caught what he said this time, but I think it's really good when a young basketball coach can get a response out of his team like that. I think it was a positive sign for the Lakers, but I'm not really taking either one of these teams as serious threats just yet.
And look who it is, early as ever, Tim Kalishaw. What did you think of the Lakers last night?
Nice shot.
I thought it was a big win because when I look at Minnesota, I see a team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year. Not only was in it, had the home court advantage against Dallas, so they were favored in that series. And the team isn't much different, except you got Randall instead of Towns, Karl Anthony Towns. And Randall played well last night, so that's not a deficient team by any means. So I think it was a nice win. Luka got off to a great start. The thing that kind of concerns me about the Lakers, and maybe LeBron is just adjusting to this at age 40, that when you let Luka be Luka, he does a lot of dribbling and a lot of isolation. And if you're LeBron, you become Jalen Brunson standing in the corner, knowing I'm probably not going to touch the ball this possession. Maybe I'll get to see it next time. And the shots, the disparity between the two isn't great. Luka's shot the ball 5 more times than he has in the first 2 games. But I just wonder if at times when things aren't going well, how that's going to sit with LeBron.
Guy from Dallas always whining about Luka Doncic. Courtney Cronin, what did you see last night?
I saw a bunch of players league-wide who must not have watched Timberwolves games. I'm referring to the players who voted in the Athletic survey about the most overrated player in the NBA. They voted Tyrese Halliburton. They probably should have voted Rudy Gobert because, Frank, he's a non-factor in this series. There's no defensive assignment for the guy. He's getting switched onto Luka Doncic or LeBron James. He's, not on the primary ball handler, all those Defensive Player of the Year awards. What are those for? I'm kidding in that sense. But regardless, the defensive intensity that Minnesota came out with in game 1, The Lakers finally matched
You're
it
right.
last night. They held Minnesota to 38% from the field, 20% from deep. And honestly, if this bench can't come alive, the Timberwolves do not have enough creators outside of a consistent Anthony Edwards and then sometimes Julius Randle, who was in double figures last night. They're going to have a problem going forward as this series shifts back to Minnesota.
Bill Plaschke, you concerned at all? Lakers only scored 60 points over the final 3 quarters.
No, because this game is based on defense. This whole series is based on defense. They held the Timberwolves to the lowest scoring total in 2 years. It was the lowest scoring total by a playoff opponent since the Lakers since LeBron got there. Naz Reid, 23 points in game 1, didn't make a basket until fourth quarter game 2.
The next 2 games, obviously, in Minnesota. All right, NFL draft is just 27 hours away. You can taste it, can't you? You've read countless mock drafts. We're going to focus at the top. Where those top picks go, do they have a chance to make an immediate impact? Of course, we're talking Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Ashton Genty. Courtney Cronin, you cover the NFL. Which player will come in to make the biggest bang in the NFL right away?
Travis Hunter, he's going to go to a team that needs to see him on the field right away, and they can see him at wide receiver or at cornerback. He's the best prospect at both in this draft. And I do think that if the Cleveland Browns are able to get him at number 2, assuming that the draft order goes Cam Ward and then they're on the clock, they can put him a number of different places. What Andrew Berry, the general manager, said in comparing, in a way, him to Shohei Ohtani is that when you put him at one position, he's outstanding. If you can find multiple ways to use him, he's a unicorn. He's the best and rarest prospect we've seen in my time covering the NFL, certainly in the last couple of decades. And when he gets on the field, how teams are able to divvy up his usage is going to be really intriguing to see how you then end up stopping a player who is as unstoppable in over 1,400 snaps in 13 games last season at Colorado.
Tim Kalisha, I watch TV, so I know Dallas has a team because it gets talked about a lot. What do you think about the top of the draft? Which player is going to make an impact?
These are the 2 days Dallas gets to win titles. They get good grades for the draft. The rest of the year, they don't do much to really get noticed. I'm going to go with Cam Ward. Why not? Tennessee, first of all, we always think we know about college quarterbacks, and then we have situations where the guy gets picked second is way better than the guy gets first, or the guy picked 32nd, like Lamar Jackson, is way better than all the guys in front of him. So we don't really know about quarterbacks, but I know he's going to play in the worst division in football. And after seeing what happened to Houston last year, Indianapolis and Jacksonville, Tennessee, I can see them winning some games. Cam Ward makes plays. He's got to have more around him, but they'll have some weapons. I don't see any reason Cam Ward can't be the guy Jaden Daniels was or, C.J. Stroud was a couple years ago.
Bill Plaschke?
Ashton Genty is the Raiders' dream.
Really?
He's perfect for the Raiders. He's Pete Carroll's Marshawn
Running
Lynch.
back.
He's Geno Smith's great backup duo. They will. He fits there perfectly. He can take the swing pass and take it to the house. He runs the ball up the middle. He gives the offense some character, some grit, some toughness. He's perfect for that team. It's a match made in heaven. Or Las Vegas.
I like that, going for a running back. Harry Lyles, you cover college football. You know these players as well as anybody. Which guy is going to have the biggest impact?
I think immediately the easy money is on Abdul Carter. He was a player that uplifted those around him and denied Dennis Sutton when he was at Penn State last year. And then so if he's going 2 or 3, if he goes to Cleveland, he gets to play with Myles Garrett. And if he goes to the Giants, he gets to play with Brian Burns and possibly Kayvon Thibodeau. I think in those 2 situations, he's already skilled enough as it is where if you put him on any team in the NFL, I think he has an immediate impact. But when you pair him on either one of those teams, I think that is absolutely easy money. This guy is going to be a day one stud.
All right, what about the guy that seems to be the biggest wild card in the draft? Of course, I'm talking about Shedeur Sanders. All right, Courtney, where do you think he goes?
Well, there's a lot of buzz that he's dropping right now for a lot of different reasons. This happens in the lead up to the draft. But I think the Cleveland Browns trade back into the first round, somewhere ahead of where the Pittsburgh Steelers are, and they draft Shedeur Sanders and pair him with Travis Hunter. I don't think that the Steelers need to reach for a quarterback. They did that a couple of years ago with Kenny Pickett. If they're a team that was in the playoffs last year and thinks that they're a quarterback away, Kirk Cousins is available via trade. Aaron Rodgers might still be out there. I don't see how getting a rookie now helps you in terms of that goal for this year when you could be thinking longer term to 2026 to drafting a quarterback.
Harry, what about Deion's son? What's going to happen?
I do like Courtney's idea because pairing him with Travis Hunter would be pretty tight to do that in the NFL as well.
Yep.
But I think if you're Pittsburgh, if he falls to you at 21, you've got to take this guy. You have not had a real long-term solution at quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger retired. I think when Kenny Pickett got drafted, a lot of us, at least in the college football world, viewed that it was a reach because he was sort of a one-hit wonder, but in a different way compared to some other guys that might come to mind like a Joe Burrow. But Shedeur is a guy who was really good when things around him were falling apart. If he gets drafted by the Steelers, he is going into a very good situation. I mean, you would just look at his receiving core with DK Metcalf and George Pickens. Like, I think Shedeur would be able to have a lot of success with those guys. So I think you take the chance on him instead of waiting for Aaron Rodgers.
Bill Plaschke?
The New York Giants have made several personnel blunders in recent years.
Few.
This will be a big one. They need to take him at third pick. They need to forget all the talk, take him. He was the most accomplished, most accurate quarterback in FBS last year. You know, he had the worst offensive line. And like Harry said, he's at his best when everything's falling down around him. Everything's falling down around him in New York. He's perfect for the Giants. They shouldn't pass him up. He's a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Forget about his father. Ignore the buzz. Take him.
I don't know, Tim. What do you think? The Giants, they already, acquired 2 quarterbacks during the offseason. You think they're going to draft?
Yeah, I don't
Shedeur
think that makes
Sanders?
sense after you've already gone and got Wilson and got Winston. Not that they're long-term answers, but I like Abdul Carter better there. Courtney says Pittsburgh doesn't need to reach for a quarterback, but they do have to have one. And I don't think Mason Rudolph is one. So I still think Shedeur Sanders is a good pick for them. Now, there are parts of the Rooney family and the Steelers organization that still hate everything about the Cowboys. I don't really know why. They beat them in 2 out of 3 Super Bowls. And they connect Dion with the Cowboys and stuff. So maybe they don't want him, but I mean, I think he's a good fit there, and they do have to have one.
Yeah, Courtney, come on. You see the Giants taking Shedeur Sanders? I don't see it. I don't see it.
There's jobs on the line with that front office and that coaching staff. I've seen this before. People think about the short term versus the long term. If they take him at 3, I would not be surprised.
I don't see it. All right, we got buy or sell coming up next. Talking Patriots, Bucks. A lot of bad blood. And the return of Matthew Tkachuk for the Panthers. Got 2 of them. We'll be right back.
Take.
In 4 and 5. Is Giannis back on the team next year?
Maybe they can trade him for players 6 years older who are better defensively.
Wow.
And see how that works for them. I'm buying that Doc Rivers needs to give us a little more than I'm very confident in this series. Very. He didn't say what he's confident in, other than maybe they're going to continue playing, or when he's going to put his stamp on the Bucks. When he's going to do more than what we saw from the Bucks before he got there.
All right.
We still haven't really seen that.
All right, buy or sell 2 Stanley Cup playoff action. Hurricanes taking a 2-0 series lead on the Devils. The Wild evening up on the Knights. The Leafs getting an OT game winner for Max Domi to take a 2-0 series lead on Ottawa. But Matthew Tkachuk, he's the headline here with 2 goals and an assist last night for the Panthers in a 6-2 win over the Lightning after, remember, he's been out since February with a lower body injury sustained in the Four Nations Face-Off tournament. Tim, how big of a wow is that what Matthew Tkachuk did last night?
It's enormous. People didn't know if or when he would come back and how serious that injury was from that event. And, Florida kind of convinced all of us that they were dead after 2 years, 2 runs to the Cup final. That's 100 and some games each year. They're not going to make it back. And then they beat Tampa Bay 6-2 in the first game. I mean, they're back as much as ever.
Courtney?
Yeah, the result wasn't even close. There was such a comfortable lead by going into the third period that you felt like the Panthers were going to run away with this. And for Matthew Tkachuk to announce himself that way, he hadn't played in 2 months and 3 days. And there was some doubt about whether Florida could get back to the Stanley Cup after how much hockey they've played in the last 2 years. That quieted it. You know what quiets it even more? Aaron Ekblad will be back for Game 3. That 20-game suspension for PEDs coming to an end soon.
Good point. Harry Lyles, what'd you make of Matthew Tkachuk last night?
Obviously, the immediate production stands out. It is incredible by itself. But what Paul Maurice said at the end of the game, and he said of Tkachuk, he said he's got an incredible gift for the emotional needs of a game. To have a guy that you feel that way back on the ice, I think it's huge. That uplifts your team. He was talking about, hey, he'll give you a hit when he needs it. Obviously, the goal scoring was huge during those 2 power plays. But to have a guy that is willing to put his body on the line during an exhibition, you've got him back for your playoff run, and he's already producing. It's huge.
See that? A reporter who takes notes and looks at his notes. That's how you do it, old school. Speaking of old school, Bill Plaschke, what about last night with Tkachuk?
Florida finished the season 10-10, one of the worst teams in the NHL. They were terrible. They were dead in the water. Now they get Kachuk back. They get, as Courtney said, Aaron Ekblad gets back. Everything's changed for them. They're the favorites now to come out of the East. And don't forget, Kachuk was during that All-Star, the 4-game face-off. He was the best player in the whole tournament. He was the best player for the USA. He was great. He's a great player. This changes everything.
Tim, what about the Maple Leafs? Big moment for them last night.
Well, that was big because if they had lost game 2, they went to overtime with Ottawa, and then obviously they got to go to Ottawa for games 3 and 4, and that's a very emotional series in Canada. Toronto's been good enough to make runs for a long time that it hasn't happened. Maybe beating the Senators last night is going to be the start of something.
This was the good stuff I needed earlier in the show. Not now. What took you so long? Tim, Bill, excellent work. Courtney, Harry. I mean, the draft is tomorrow, folks. That's why we got to do that. Courtney and Harry, welcome to Showdown. You know, you people, which I guess includes me, we never talk about the OKC Thunder. Another beatdown of the Memphis Grizzlies last night to take a 2-0 series lead. They won the 2 games by a combined 70 points. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is shooting just 33%. Courtney, what are we witnessing from the Thunder?
We're witnessing domination that you expect from a 1 seed that had the 1 seed locked up by early April. This is not the best that we've seen from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but that's okay because when you have Chet Holmgren playing as dominant basketball as he has been in the first 2 games, this team will be fine getting past Memphis and into the second round.
Harry?
Yeah, we're looking at history. The point differential is the 4th most in NBA history over any 2-game stretch during the postseason. I think we're going to look back at this Oklahoma City team by the end of this, similarly to we did with the Denver Nuggets a couple of years ago, and thinking, why did we pick anybody else to win the championship?
Yeah. And how about Ja Morant? Not a big-time performance by him last night. Ooh. After the coach got fired, split the point. Showdown number 2, ball night tonight. Jason Tatum downgraded to doubtful for Magic Celtics game 2, so that's not nothing. Also, Heat Cavs and Warriors Rockets on tonight's slate. Which game do you have your eye on, Harry?
Ooh, Houston, Golden State. The way that Golden State closed out game 1, they looked like an experienced team that no matter what punches the young team threw at them, they were going to finish it. They cannot do that again tonight.
Courtney?
I'm also looking at Golden State and Houston. This Warriors team has won 75% of their postseason games while getting out-rebounded. That's not usually a formula for success. They won game 1 that way. I don't know if they will win it if it happens like that tonight.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the Houston Rockets get a little physical. And for Tatum, either one of you, how many career playoff games does he have? For a 27-year-old, how many games? Quick.
Ooh, a ton.
51.
I like that.
41?
A ton. You know what? Harry was the closest without going over. 114 playoff games for Jason Tatum.
That's
Harry,
crazy.
take the win.
Florida A&M introduced Charlie Ward. That's right, Florida State 2-sport star Charlie Ward as their head basketball coach on Monday. He's a Thomasville, Georgia native. His parents live in Thomasville still. If you want to go see his Heisman Trophy, by the way, it's sitting in the Thomas County Public Library. Highly recommend you go. They've got a trophy room in the house. I think that they're going to have to make some additions to that. I cannot think of a better person and a mentor to lead young men than Charlie Ward. This Florida A&M program has not been to the NCAA tournament since 2006, 2007. I think that he is probably going to end up breaking that streak. And Willard and Charlie Ward Sr., you guys are going to have more trophies to put in that trophy room on Heisman Way.
Harry, excellent work. I got to cover Charlie Ward when he played for the Knicks. You are not going to find a tougher player anywhere. We're on a 19-and-a-half-hour break. We'll see you Monday.